Okay, so we were multiplying together 25 times 32 divided by 2. 25 times 32 divided by 2. 400. And how many sig figs do we want? Only 2, because 25 has 2 and 32.0 has 3, so we want 2 in our answer. If you want to write 400 with 2 sig figs, you've got to either put the bar over the 0, or you can write 4.0 times 10 to the second. Either of those would be acceptable. And that's all grams of oxygen, which you would like to see. There you go. Okay, how about one more? Let's skip down to number 2. Or let's do B, since we just had hydrogen peroxide problem. Okay, this is 2B. Now this one was still, our reaction was 2H2O2 yields O2 plus 2H2O. Okay, this time the problem says how many moles of water are produced from 36 grams of hydrogen peroxide in this reaction. Okay, so the given is 36 grams of hydrogen peroxide over 1. And I want to end up with moles of water down here at the end. Okay, well first I've got to find the molar mass of hydrogen peroxide so I know how many grams go here. So I need the number of grams per mole. So that's hydrogen, 2 times 1.01, and oxygen, 2 times 16.0, 2.02, 32.0. These numbers are coming from the periodic table. These are the subscripts. 34.02, but we need to round to the tenths place. So 34.0 grams per mole. Okay, now I need to get rid of moles of hydrogen peroxide. So I'll put it down here to cancel. And the mole ratio is, look at that, 2 to 2. Or you can even simplify down 1 to 1. So in that case, I'm only doing 36 divided by 34. 1.058 something. And I want 3 sig figs in my answer. So 1.06. 1.06 moles, not grams, sorry. 1.06 moles of water. Okay, so the problems we did before, we started with moles and we went to grams of a different thing. In this problem, we started with grams of a different thing and we went to moles. Grams of one substance and we ended up in moles of a different substance. All right, now let's go down to the challenge. Let's put all of these together. Okay, potassium bromide reacts with chlorine gas to produce potassium chloride and bromine. Write and balance this equation and use it for the next 2 problems. Potassium bromide reacts with chlorine gas, remember that's Brinkelhoff, to produce potassium chloride and bromine. Plus 1 minus 1, plus 1 minus 1. Got to balance it. Okay, now we have our balanced equation on A. Let's try B. If 100 grams of potassium bromide are used, how many grams of potassium chloride can be produced? All right, this is what's called a mass-mass problem because we're starting with grams of one thing and we're going to grams of another thing. So we start with a mass, we end with a mass-mass problem. I'm going to need the molar mass of both of these compounds. So for potassium, 39.1, 1 times 39.1, that's a 1. 1 times 39.1. And bromine, 1 times, what's bromine? 79.9. So that's 119 grams per mole. Is that right? 39.1 plus 79.9. Yep, okay. 119 grams per mole for potassium bromide. And for potassium chloride, 1 times 39.1. CL is 1 times 35.5. 74.6 grams per mole. Okay, now I have the molar mass of these two. Problem is 100 grams of potassium bromide over 1. It's 119 grams of potassium bromide per mole. Now I've got moles of potassium bromide to cancel out, so that goes on the bottom. I'm looking for moles of potassium chloride, so that goes on top. The ratio is 2 to 2, or simplify 1 to 1. Moles of KCl on the bottom. And this time we're going for grams of KCl, so that's where my 74.6 comes in. Okay, so now the math is going to be 100. I simplified my 2, so 100 times 74.6 divided by 119. Well, 100 times 74.6 is 7460. Divided by 119. 62.689 something. How many sig figs do we want in our answer? Well, this is 4. This is 4. This is 3. Let's go with 3. 8 makes that round up, so 62.7 grams of KCl. And that's the answer. So when we went from grams of KBr to grams of KCl, first we divided by the molar mass, then we did the mole ratio, we multiplied by the other molar mass. And that's the pattern you're going to use every time. So now it's your turn to work on those problems some more. Good luck. Come see me if you need some help. You might check my website because I might put the answers on the website.